Good afternoon. We're the Stony Brook University Land Bank team. My name is Zach. I'm joined with my teammates, Amelia and Julia. Today we'll be giving our presentation on the topographic mapping and site development process. For this year's project, which was at Montgomery County, Ohio, we have a 116-acre property. In this presentation, we will discuss our drafting and plan contents, our due diligence process, and finally, our future uses and limitations. Going to the drafting, we did things a bit differently this year. We were able to establish a field to finish process. This was a lot of work, but we were able to take our PNZD file, put it into Civil 30, and within a few minutes, all of our planimetrics were drafted. We did this by establishing a description key set and line work code sets that did this for us. Additionally, our surface was built by hand. We hand-picked surface points that we found reliable, and we used a combination of break lines and boundary lines to calibrate our tin network. In our plan contents, we have a property boundary drafted by our legal description. We tied this into our property with ties, and we notated deed versus survey measurements. Additionally, we do not have a benchmarking control plan this year, as it was not requested, but we recommend that any benchmark or control plans that are to be made are accessible and intervisible for both LiDAR and on-the-ground survey. Additionally, another new thing we added is a QC process. We used a combination of both raster and vector data, that being from aerial imagery and GIS shapefiles, which we pulled from county database. Additionally, we went to Google Earth Pro, and we looked at historical street view to see the development of our property. You can see in this last picture here, we have a drop inlet, a catch basin, and stormwater piping. And this was really useful because we could confirm the placement of our site features. I'll pass it on to Amelia to look at due diligence.
So for our due diligence, Zach, if you don't mind pressing the next slide. So for our due diligence, we researched the county GIS as well as the recorder's office to find information regarding property usage and adjacent land ownership. This is important for the client as they would need to send out a public notice for any new development in the area. We also acquired a zoning map from the city of Vandalia. A zoning map essentially regulates what can and cannot be built in a certain area. So as you can see over here in this gray area, this is our site, which is located in the Industrial Innovation Zone. The zoning map also ensures that any proposed land development is compatible with the adjacent areas. Lastly, we also looked into the community opinion using town hall meeting minutes, and we found that the town expressed a strong desire to preserve the rural character of their town.
So some of the future uses and limitations of our site. So as we can see here, we have some wetlands that are present on our site. And as we know, wetlands require permits if we are going to do any sort of disturbance on them. And also we know that disturbing wetlands can sometimes have negative environmental and ecological impacts, so that's something to keep in mind. We also have these dense wooded areas here that are present, and our LiDAR sensors cannot detect any topographic information through the dense wooded areas, which makes it a little hard to gain a full survey of what these areas looks like. And we also know through looking at the historical data on Google Earth Pro that these wooded areas have been present for decades. So they would also be very timely and costly to remove. These images show some of the existing structures and existing drainage facilities that are present on our site. So these are just important things to keep in mind for if we are doing any sort of clearing on our site. Lastly, we have some of the final recommendations for our site. So this image actually shows a plot of land that is located to the east of the site that we surveyed. And as we can see here, we have some recreational facilities present, such as parks and ball fields. So we could choose to develop more of these kinds of facilities on our site. We also have more industrial use over here with these warehouses. So we could also decide to develop more of these more of these industrial warehouses on our site. Lastly, we have residential areas, and we could choose to develop single-family residential plots on our site. And this would be beneficial because it wouldn't require any transfer of land use, and we would be able to maintain the existing structures on our site. And it would also help to preserve the rural character of the community. These are some of the references that we used. Thank you for your time.